Democrats are running for Republican Congresswoman Victoria Sparks' seat. Last week, we heard from one of them, Deborah Pickett. This week, our Garrett Bergquist sits down with the other Democrat in the race, Ryan Pfenninger. He's a tech entrepreneur who lives in Carmel.
With us now is Ryan Pfenninger. Ryan, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Why are you running for Congress?
It's a good question. I'm running for Congress because I want to ensure that our children have as many rights, if not more, growing up than we did. And I think the way things are going in our country, that's not a given, and it should be. For the last 250 years in America, we have been in the business of securing rights for the people. And I will stand firmly against anyone or anything trying to take those rights away. I believe that women should be able to make their own health care decisions, free from government interference. I believe that seniors should be able to retire with the Social Security benefits that they paid into their entire career, not taken away by the brushstroke of some politician in Washington, D.C., too uncreative to figure out a better solution. I believe, and I am running for office because I think every child in the 5th District and in the state of Indiana deserves a world-class education that prepares them for the workplace of tomorrow, or for higher education or vocational training, or for whatever they go on to do.
You've called for reversing the impact of the Dobbs decision on abortion access. Would you support federal legislation to protect access to abortion services?
100% I would. I think that, I believe, and as my wife likes to remind me, that every woman in this state, in the 5th District, in this country for that matter, is infinitely more capable of making their own health care decisions than some bureaucrat or politician in Washington or at the State House or sitting on a bench somewhere. And so I happen to believe that the Dobbs decision shattered women's ability to make their own health care decisions. And absolutely, if I'm elected, not only will I fight to reverse that, but I will absolutely fight to codify it into law. Now, further, I do believe that if we want to talk about life in this country, that there are some other areas that we really ought to be focusing on. For example, maternal mortality and infant mortality.
On your website, you say Congress should support policies that foster economic stability and invest in training that will support high-wage jobs, and you alluded to that earlier. What are some specific examples of policies to that end that you would support?
So I happen to believe that we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity here in the district to rebuild our small towns and our middle class. And I think largely on the back of the resurgence of American manufacturing and the onshoring of supply chains back not only to America, but as we've seen Indiana already starting to be a big beneficiary of stuff from the CHIPS Act and some of these other things. Now, in order for us to continue to attract the world-class companies that we want to have here, I think we need to invest in workforce training and in education and generally in making sure that our folks are prepared to meet the challenges that those types of jobs of tomorrow require.
What's your plan for dealing with the crisis at the southern border and the simultaneous crisis with our legal immigration system?
We clearly have an issue at the southern border. We need to make sure that our borders are safe and secure, and that we keep out dangerous weapons and drugs and people who wish to do us harm. Now, the other side likes to talk about a border wall. They seem to be fixated on a physical structure. I'm an engineer. I happen to believe in the right tool for the job. And so to that end, I believe that there are lots of different technologies that perhaps might be more effective. I also happen to believe, and statistics would show, that a lot of the drugs flowing into our country come through our ports of entry and our points of entry. And so to the extent that we can improve the technology and the screening there, hopefully we can serve to reduce some of the inflow of those dangerous drugs.
What about the legal immigration system?
So as far as legal immigration goes, I fully support a robust guest worker program. I fully support things like increased quotas for H-1Bs and other skilled workers. I fully believe that if we are going to attract the best and the brightest in the world as it relates to the skilled workers stuff, that we need to make sure after we educate these folks that we figure out a way to keep them in America so they can build their businesses and they can generate positive outcomes from their ideas right here in this country.
You said you want a Medicare for all option. How would you pay for it?
Medicare for all who want to use it, a low-cost health care insurance plan that is run by a nonprofit-seeking entity, is vital to make sure not only that Americans are covered and they don't go broke by getting sick, but I'm also firmly in favor of people who want to keep the private insurance that they have. Now, I also happen to believe that there are a lot of things going on in our healthcare system, and this indirectly answers your question, but I actually think it's a big part of the answer. I think there's a lot of stuff going on in our healthcare system today that conspire to raise all of our prices. So we have lots of hospital groups who are consistently buying up physician practices, eliminating choice and raising price. We have insurance companies who consistently and continue to vertically integrate, whether they're buying pharmacies or benefits managers in the name of cost savings, yet none of those savings get passed along to us. And so I think a big way that we pay for that is to help try to increase competition in the healthcare system and drive the cost of delivery down.
Would you support continued foreign aid for Israel?
Israel is one of our oldest allies in the region. I happen to believe that is our duties to stand not only behind Israel, but all of our allies in their time of need. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't hold them accountable for the way that they act, but I do believe that if someone is your ally, then you need to prove we need to prove that that is a lasting, durable relationship.